then see how Herbert reacts to what is probably going to be a hostile environment in Jacksonville. You never think you would say that, but last week was rowdy against the Titans. So, Side, what do you think about this game tonight?
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I have kind of like a weird feeling that it's gonna be kind of low scoring. I don't know what it is.
You can see it.
You wouldn't think it
Little
just
jitters,
because of
little
the
jitters.
yeah, with all the firepower on both sides of the offensive ball, but I don't know. I just get that feeling that it's you could see kind of the same thing. You got Etienne. Um, I, I I think DFS wise, it's a good game also to kind of dip your hand into, just because there's a lot of people that can score, a lot of people that
Yeah.
can get you yards. No Mike Williams tonight, so Keenan Allen would be a good play, obviously. Etienne, Eckler. Where you get creative, I think, is the receiver side on Jacksonville, just because they have so many weapons that you can choose from. You got Marvin Jones at 3,400 bucks. His ceiling I have at 12.4. Um, Zay Jones is actually extremely owned at
Yeah.
49% right now. And Christian Kirk again is 40.9. So you're gonna have to shake it up a little bit and get creative because it's gonna be chalky just because there's two games.
Oh yeah, yeah. And these two gamers, the main way to get different strategy wise, and it looks like we didn't have audio. So if someone didn't hear what we had to say before, uh, we think the Seattle 49ers or 49er side is probably the better way to stack it. And then I also think the this game tonight is I think I personally would probably stack the Charger side over the Jaguar side. I think the Jaguars last week played to lose, or not played not to lose, and they played a little bit timid. I think that has a little bit more jittery feeling as the playoffs come around. I think the Chargers. I know they have a bad coach there, and they're without Mike Williams in this game, which opens up a lot more value here with Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter. They've played without Mike Williams before. I'm not too worried about their production here
Yeah.
tonight.
It
So
it pretty
that'd be
much
my two
makes
favorite
Keenan
stacks.
Allen a must play,
Yeah, if I'm
with
playing
which other
DFS, I'm
side you're
playing.
playing it, yeah,
Yeah,
because he's gonna get 6 catches tonight at least.
I think his reception totals over 6.5, and it was like minus 170, which is just
Yeah,
insanity.
yeah.
So yeah, if you got that line earlier, thinking that maybe Mike Williams had a chance, kudos to you. Now there's no way you can play that at
How do you
all
feel
unless you want to
about,
put him in anywhere.
DeAndre Carter?
I'm a big fan. I mean, he's going to run those little go routes and get those little in between routes as well. Maybe some jet sweeps. He's kind of everywhere in this one. So if you're going to get different here, you play DeAndre Carter. I like Everett. The tight ends in this game, Everett and Ingram could stir some stuff up there. But you said it best against the Jaguars. They have a lot of different receivers that have produced a lot of different times.
Yeah.
So it's tough to nail down which one to do it. So that's why, I mean, you take a chance and you would say, okay, let's go with Kirk, let's go with Ingram, run back, or we go with ETN, running back. But yeah, Chargers and 49ers I would stack this afternoon. If anybody else has any questions over the DFS slate for this afternoon, let us know. But our main focus here today, which we'll switch to, is going to be the Sunday slate. So the Sunday games, we got the Dolphins, Bills, Giants, Vikings, and then the Ravens, Bengals. So 3-game slate. How are you going to attack this one side?
So, I personally, am a fan of the Giants stack this week, just kinda taking advantage of, that weak Minnesota defense and, how well the Giants have been playing down the stretch. So Daniel Jones, his last few games was averaging over 30 points a game. So I would start with Daniel Jones, and he's the cheap. I think he's the cheapest quarterback um,
on the
out
slate.
of
Yeah.
tomorrow's slate. So that gives you a lot of wiggle room in terms of kind of putting your lineup together. Well, he's not the cheapest, Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson, but I'm not going anywhere near those
That you're
guys.
going to play.
Yeah. So he's at
Yeah.
5,600, which I think gives you the best value for quarterback in tomorrow's slate. Projected 21.6 with a ceiling of 27.2. And then I'm coming back with Saquon Barkley, um, just because I think you have to play running backs. You have to buy the running backs. I don't like the Dallas running backs tomorrow because Tampa Bay has a pretty good run defense. I'm not touching anyone in that Cincy and Ravens game. Not touching the Bills running backs. Not touching Miami's running backs. So you kind of, I think you have to go Barkley here just to kind of fill out your lineup. Um, Now you could go Jefferson or you could go Dalvin Cook if you kind of wanted to solidify another good running back. I think Cook is definitely playable. I think my projections have him either the 2 or the 3 back for tomorrow's slate. So good choice right there. And then here's where you can get creative with that third Giants player. I put in Richie James just because he's been phenomenal down the stretch. He's probably the highest owned receiver for the Giants, but he's pretty cheap. You could switch in Darius Slayton. You could switch in Hodgins, who have all been pretty solid. But I think Richie James is the hot hand. He's the guy that
Yeah.
um, I think you will most likely get the most points for you. But again, I think a lot of people are going to be on him. So yeah, I think the Giants slate is where I'm headed for tomorrow.
Yeah. And for this game, I am okay with stacking both sides. There's no doubt in my mind. This should be the most highest scoring output game. However, I'm just a little bit concerned. Last time they played, it was like, what was it, 16-17 the last 4 minutes of the game. And, then it got a little bit more aggressive towards there. So, but it's the right call. You got to play these games. The strategy that we will implement here, I'm okay with the 3x1 that side's got. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take it a step farther and go 3x2s or go a 4x1 or a 4x2. So I'm gonna make sure we go even more aggressive with our stacking, so that way we get a little bit more unique, and hopefully we pop on one of these three games. That's the main way to focus on these short 2 to 3 game slates here. Um, and if I were to add to this particular one, I'd probably make it a run back with either Osborne or Hawkinson, because it's hard, I think, for Jones to carry Barkley, James, Hodgins all together, or Barkley, James, Slayton. I think he just doesn't have that. They don't have that
Yeah.
offense to do so. So I would flip it on the other side and go Cousins 4x2 or Cousins 4x1 or something like that. Because I think Cousins has the output offensive mindset around him to have that. So let us know your thoughts in the comments on that strategy. If you guys do like this game, I'm going to show you guys my particular stack. This is a very, very high risk stack. It is in a game, 13.5 point favorites. It's the research tells you to stick with no run back here. I'm gonna go against that because I really still think Waddle and Hill can be productive in this game. And this Dolphins offense is going to pull everything that it can to stay in this game. They've already played each other twice. They know each other well, obviously division rivals. But I mean, I think the Bills should roll. I still think there's going to be some offensive fireworks in this game. So I'm going to go on the Buffalo side because I'm not going to put any hard earned money on Skylar Thompson.
Right.
So Allen, Cook, Davis, and Knox. So I took out Diggs, so I had some leftover to maybe go get somebody else, like a T Higgins or a Chase to put in, and then you have Waddle coming back. So you could either bring back with Waddle or you can bring back with Hill in this one. But I think this is a very, very high risk approach where I'm hoping that I get some production of James Cook late in the game, maybe a late score touchdown, or he catches a couple screens that go. So the Dolphins do give up a lot of passing production to the running back position. That's why I do like James Cook. If you want to go crazy with it, Naeem Hines, he's on the team. He catches some passes for him, but he might have just one of
He's
those
going to be
playoff games
limited.
where he should be limited. Should
Ideally,
be,
yeah.
but I'm saying he could be potentially a guy that takes a screen 80 something yards and you get some value out of him, and then boom, you shoot up those leaderboards. So he's a high risk play. I'm just thinking of some ways to get a little bit different for our viewers out there. But yeah, Allen, Cook, Davis, and if you want to sub Davis out and put Diggs, go right ahead, and you got to find some value somewhere else. But I really, really like this angle. And Knox, he's the tight end slate tomorrow is pretty. Everyone's kind of the same. There's not a crazy value play. There's not a crazy sleeper play. There's not a you got to play this guy. So I'm okay with going with one of the guys in the higher team total aspect of that. So you got anything on this particular stack?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest you could play Hines, but it's a $300 difference, and I think that you kind of have to, unless you're playing a lot of lineups and you're just trying to get different. But I think if you're playing the stack, you have to play Cook, just because he's going to get more touches, and
Yeah,
the drop off from him and Singletary isn't that different,
yeah.
but there is always that the Bills have used Hines down in the red zone the last few games, just kind of dumping it off to him. So there is that touchdown chance for him. Um, but you're it's kind of a
He
coin
also
flip.
returns kicks.
He does.
He
He
also
does.
returns kicks. So I don't think he's going to bring one back again. But hey, you never know. It's a crazy script that they're writing over there in Buffalo.
And I like the
But
the
yeah,
Waddle play. Um, I think Tyreek is just too much money for having Skylar Thompson back there. So I don't know if I would want to spend it on him when I think Waddle. I mean, that offense is just kind of it's going to be a little scary because
yeah.
the production on that side is just going to be pretty low, I think.
Yeah, for a team that did not score any touchdowns last week, they still moved the football enough to get some fantasy output via DFS. So Tyreek, Waddle. I mean, if you want to get crazy with it, you can put Gasecki back there. And if you think Jeff Wilson, because he's the only running back there really that's going to get any touches, he's going to have a lot of volume. You could throw him in as a run back as well. Like I said, these 3-game slates are absolutely crazy with high ownerships. It's really the way you build your lineup via the stack and hope that one particularly jumps. So anything else stack wise you want to talk about? We pretty much covered our 2 favorite ones
Yeah.
and how you can get a little bit different. Sleepers are a little bit tough, so there's not going to be like crazy, 1% guys, 2% guys out there that below 5% guys that if we recommend, you'd probably say, what the hell are you guys even talking about on the stream? But I did say one is Hines is the way you can get a little bit different. My other one who's sub 20%, which is pretty sleeper-ish on this slate. I know Side doesn't like anybody on the Ravens for this week too much. But J.K. Dobbins, he's under 20%, and who knows? They could potentially keep this game a little bit closer. He sat out last week. They basically didn't play anybody last week against the Bengals. The Bengals had a statement to be made. I still like the Bengals in this game. However, just know that the Ravens aren't just going to roll over. And J.K. Dobbins is going to be in the mix. He is going to be with Gus Edwards, and then Drake is still there as well. I'm just saying a little bit more value here, under 20% with J.K. Dobbins. In retrospect to Saquon and Dalvin and Joe Mixon, who are all pushing 40+%. So that's where you get a little bit different there.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the wide receiver position is where you can get creative. For example, trying to find some low guys here. Gabe Davis is kind of a low guy, 11.8%. And he's actually projected pretty good value for him. Um, Tyler, well, that's tonight, so that doesn't matter. But Gallup is Monday, but he would be a good one that you could kind of take a bite on. KJ Osborne again for today would be a decent one. He's only at 1.9% ownership. Um,
Oh yeah, that's mine. That was my
yeah,
one.
it's just
I like Tyler Boyd too. Tyler Boyd,
yeah.
he's coming under 10% as well.
Higgins is 3.9%.
Own it. He's in ownership 3.9. Really?
Yeah,
Damn. I'll have to look that up. That'd be crazy.
yeah,
Uh,
3.9% for him. And if you are playing Monday, love Mike Evans, and he is
yeah,
only
Mikey Evans.
4.8% ownership.
Yep. And then my other one, so Tyler Boyd, he's coming in under 10% for the slate. Waddle is coming in right above 10%. So a lot of people are going away from that passing attack. I am I'm running to it with the double digit underdog spread. And then as Sidekick alluded to, KJ Osborne is my favorite play under 10%, which he's coming in close to about 5 or so. KJ Osborne, I'm gonna have a little bold prediction that he's going to be this year's Gabe Davis if they go far. If he goes far enough in the playoffs, I think he could score a couple touchdowns and have a lot of exposure through the air. Main reason is because it sets up a lot like teams were trying to stop Stephon Diggs. They're going to stop. They're going to try to stop Justin Jefferson. They're going to have someone else step up. KJ Osborne screams it in my eyes, who's been producing for the last several weeks very, very nicely. So those are some sleepers. You got anybody in your tight end role? There's not
Um,
much.
if you're kind of looking for a guy that's cheap and um, he's 13.8% owned, but Hayden Hurst could
Yeah,
give you a little bit of production for tomorrow's slate, projected 9 points with a ceiling of 12.8. But again, I think his price is where you're going to get the most value just because we want to stack other positions tomorrow. So I don't mind spending the $3,100 on him, whereas a Mark Andrews or a TJ Hawkinson is going to be $5,200.
yeah, yeah. Hurst is the only way to get a little bit different. He's coming. I mean, he's shoot 20% ish, and then you got I mean, Hawkinson and Andrews is going to be the two that have all the ownership tomorrow.
Yeah.
So simply playing Knox or Hurst, you should be different from majority of the field who will not play them. And I would suggest if you're going to play Hayden Hurst, you play him in a Cincinnati stack that absolutely explodes. And then how I did it before, where you have Dawson Knox in your Buffalo stack. Those are two keys I think to explode up those leaderboards this week. So you just completely fade Hawkinson or Andrews. I wouldn't play double tight end. I really don't like that strategy whatsoever. So if you play a flex position this week, you're going to be one of those cheaper wide receivers in my eyes is
I
the way
don't
to
know
go.
if I would play Andrews either.
It's gonna be tough. So, yeah, he really hasn't produced as
Right.
much as lately, and he's the highest one on the slate. Hey, everyone's gonna go to Hawkinson instead of Andrews. So
Yeah.
Hawkinson might have he might be 80% owned tomorrow. Hawkinson might.
Bellinger's not a bad look either.
Yep.
$3,000, 7.8
Yep.
projection, 11.4 ownership. Could get you 10
Yep.
points.
Could see it. I could see it. So, any other thoughts on the DFS slate? It's pretty self-explanatory with the 3 games. Pick one game that you think is going to explode. Stack it heavy, 3x2s, 4x1s, or 4x2s. If this is your first time checking with us, 4x1s is 4 guys from one offense, including the quarterback, and then 1 guy running it back, and then vice versa with 3x2s and 4x2s. So you can game stack with both sides of the Giants Vikings game, and I would pick the Cincy side if you're stacking that side, and then or that game, and then if you're going to play the Buffalo side in the Buffalo Miami game, that's what I would do. So we can go into the props of the week for us. We got Conley 55 saying he loves Bellinger in the chat. So I think he could be definitely a dark horse. $3,000 on DK, a very very weak secondary. So yeah, I like that. Definitely, I think Bellinger and Hurst are the way to go to get different. Everyone's going to flock to TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and get into the props. And if you guys have any other questions, DFS or prop wise in the chat, make sure you guys throw that there and we'll answer them live on air.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Side.
my first prop is in the San Francisco and Seahawks game here. I'm going with Brock Purdy over 1.5 touchdowns. I got it yesterday at -105, and there's still a book out there at -106. It's not on FanDuel at 106, and it's not on DraftKings at 106, but it's still out there. DraftKings is -120. I think FanDuel is as well. Pretty cut and dry here. He's hit this in every single game that he's played. A lot of dump off passes in the red zone. I can see him dumping one off to CMC and him going. There's a lot of big explosive receivers on that team that can take it to the house too. Just love this spot for him. I wanted to play it last week and I didn't. So I'm going to take advantage of the line again and play it today.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually -105 on Barstool. If anybody out there has that, so it's still live on Barstool at -105 here. Purdy, especially when with the weather turning out to be what it is, I like this play even more. When you sent it to me, I was a little hesitant in my head because I was like, I just know that forecast is crazy, but this kid has shown that
Yeah,
he can be one hell of a game manager, just like Jimmy G did last year, and throw throw little screens to CMC go, and then make sure you throw it to Kittle over the middle, and hey, all of a sudden you have a touchdown score, or
must be
Debo
nice
does
to
something after
have
the catch.
Must be nice to have 3 quarterbacks that are pretty solid on your roster,
Yeah,
whereas the Colts, don't have 1 solid quarterback.
or just a incredible system that you can just plug and play any quarterback ever and you're just fine. So that's what it seems like the 49ers have, which is kudos to them. But I think Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the league
Yeah, for
in my
sure.
eyes. Yeah, I definitely think so. Um, so yeah, I'm backing this now, especially with the weather turning out to be not as crazy as forecasted. Shocker, the weathermen are wrong, and not wrong. It's just the way it played out in the game time. So if it was early this morning, yeah, that'd have been a shit show. All right, so we'll go to mine. We're gonna go. I just talked this guy up. We're gonna go KJ Osborne over receiving yards. Over on FanDuel, got it at 35 and a half, -114. And you can see the one time that he did not hit this was against the Giants. And if you remember that game, that was the game. So he caught 3 catches on 4 targets. They're all little dinks. Didn't do much. But for whatever reason, they just let TJ Hawkinson run like crazy. And Hawkinson had like 12 catches that day. Like that game is relevant to me when it comes to a lot of those stats because just I don't think they're going to play that type of defense whatever once again. Uh, and Osborne has his production, as you guys can see, he is the go-to number 2 now over Thielen in my eyes in this offense, and they are going to try to shut down Justin Jefferson, i.e., my Gabe Davis reference to last year. I think this guy can beat him this year, production-wise, and 37 and a half or 35 and a half currently over on FanDuel is a steal in my opinion. He's hit this in 4 or 5. Too much volume in the pass game. Uh, Cousins will probably throw it 35 to 40 times this game. Give me at least, I mean, he's given 7.6 targets the last 5 games. I think we can get to 40 here. 36 is all we need, but I think 40 plus is not a reasonable thing to ask.
I think that's a good fine. I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring game. I think the Giants are going to take it, but I think that's why KJ Osborne's going to get a little bit more action tomorrow too. So
Thinking the Giants are going to take it. We'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Who do you guys think wins this game? I think it's going to be the Vikings. Side loves the Giants. Love to hear for who you
plus,
guys like in the chat.
+3 for the Giants. I mean,
+3.
I, and I think they can win outright. I just like Daniel Jones a little better than I do Kirk Cousins.
Who? We got control say skull skull. So he's like with the Vikings. I like it. I think most people would probably say the Vikings, but
Yeah.
they they have they have disappointed this year plenty of times. So all right, go into you got one more prop, right?
Yeah, and then the best bet.
Yep.
So my next one is from the same game, but I have an SGP. Um, Richie James over 39.5 receiving yards, and parlay that with TJ Hawkinson over 34.5 receiving yards at -110. As you can see, the beautiful graph on the right hand side by our producer Eli here. Uh, he's been smashing this spot. So I think this is a pretty safe play for James, especially against the secondary. Um, I didn't mind his original line, but his original line was kind of hit or miss. And I thought it was just a little off. So I went ahead and teased it down. Um, I just think it's a good spot. Hawkinson always has that ability to break it off, and the red that you see on his graph is just 1 yard off, except for last week. So I think 34.5 is a right spot for him, and I think we'll cash this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I love this play. When you said this in the Discord, I was like, "Yep, I'm automatically tailed it." I liked Richie James myself. Obviously, I think Hawkinson can get to this position too. So yeah, I'm all over this with you. Definitely backing it. We got some comments. Control says, "But Kirk is not good in these types of games." And then Conley says, "Public is on Vikings and Kirk any other time than 1 p.m. games. +3 seems free in my opinion." So we're
Hmm.
betting against Kirk Cousins then. Yeah, I watched it too. I'm hoping that he just somehow gets out of that little funk and somehow gets it done. But yeah, I can't say anything positive against Kirk out of those 1 p.m. games. So hopefully maybe he turns it around. We'll see. I'll get into my last prop for this section here. Talked about him a little bit earlier in the DFS side, how it's a little bit of value. Both these guys are value plays in my eyes. So I'm going to correlate that with some bets, and I'm going to take Jalen Waddles over 46.5 receiving yards, -114. Got that over on FanDuel. And the graph actually shows his production without Tua this season. So the gray was last year. The white part is this year on the right. So, Thompson's played. You've got Bridgewater who's played with them. He's hit this in 2 of 4 games. The negative game script is where it really, really jumps out to me. There's going to be a lot of volume, a lot of times to be targeted. I just hope that he gets there today with some additional receptions. In the targets, the last 4 games without Tua, 3, 10, 5, and 5. So I'm going to average that out. You're. I'm thinking he could get at least 4 catches and give me at least 12 yards or so a catch, or maybe he takes one to the house like he did last time against the Bills. We'll see what happens here, but I really think they're going to try to take away Hill, and Waddle does his thing, and as long as he stays on the field, does not get hurt or anything like that, he should get enough volume to get this. I know we talked about Waddle, and you said you didn't want to pay up for Hill. What do you think about this? The receptions or receiving yards? I looked at receptions at
It's so
4.5.
juiced, but it's
Yeah,
juiced. Yeah.
yeah, I know. That's my only thing.
I feel like I think the receptions will hit. This one I think will be pretty tight. Um, but if he's getting 5 catches, there's no reason why he shouldn't hit his yards.
Yeah.
It's just this game terrifies me from a prop betting standpoint. Like Diggs is 6.5 receptions, which usually you would take. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about any props from this game.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I took his receiving yards. So I
Yeah.
looked at the last 2 games this season. He had 4 early on, and then he had 3 in December. But then his receiving yards are all over 100 yards in the
Yeah.
2 games.
I think if you're
So
gonna play one, this would be the one that I would target. I
and
think his value is there.
right, and now you're gonna cut the line to 40. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's too low. I really
Yeah.
think it's too low.
For a guy that's
And
explosive, it's just
yeah,
I mean, it all stems from Thompson. So,
yes,
but I see
yes,
a
I
lot
agree.
of dump passes tomorrow.
Yep, and he had last week. What do you have? 44 on 5 targets for 5 catches. So it's right there. I
Yeah.
mean, same similar production, but I still, in a playoff game, give me another week with Thompson under his belt. Get some design plays. Let's go. Let's get Waddle going. I like it. You got one more, or
Yeah.
we got best bets
Best bet.
or anytime touchdowns. We'll go
Which one do you
anytime.
want to do
Yeah,
first? Anytime?
let's do anytime. Let me know
All
who.
right.
Let me know who you think is going to score. I'm so hold on before we get into that. I'm so pissed because last week I had Jordan Mason and he scored a touchdown and it got overturned because his damn knee was down and they didn't give it back to him. They let I think it was Purdy just ran it in. I was like, son of a bitch. I was pissed. That
Hey,
was plus
Jamal Williams
370.
scored
Should have hit.
too.
Who did?
Jamal Williams scored his
Yes,
two.
yes, he broke Barry Sanders' record. So kudos or shout out to Jamal. Eliminated the Packers, so that was crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna get suckered into this one. I think myself and all of America is gonna take this bet. It's boosted on on DraftKings. I was gonna take it anyways. Well, it was one that I liked. I wasn't gonna take it because it was minus 140, but when I saw that it was plus 100, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take that.
You
This
got to.
guy's this guy's a touchdown machine. He can score in catching the ball. He can score running the ball. He does it just about every game. So plus 100, I feel like you have to take it. So
Yeah,
that's the first one I got.
like I said, even now with the weather, the way it's shaping out to be, I'm totally on board with CMC getting it done and getting it into the end zone for sure. Came out of control. Says, what stat site do you guys use? All the graphs here, props.cash. So make sure you use on the dot for 25% discount on the monthly subscription. It is a no-brainer if you're betting props. You must have this, a must software. I mean, you can, like I said, like you can factor it where you can find Waddle's stats without Tua, and then you can see it from last year to this year. There's all different types of stats on there, and instead of searching the internet and Google searching all these different types of stats, they
All
have
right
it all
there
right there on their platform.
with
So
every
yeah, make
with
sure
every
it's
sport.
yeah. So yeah, basically NFL, NBA, NHL, and they have CSGO as well. So just make sure you use on the dot at props.cash for 25% off. So yeah, make sure you do that. Yeah, so I'll get into my anytime touchdown. We're gonna go with a player who definitely should have scored last week, and I'm glad he didn't because I'm gonna get some value here this week. Same team, same defense. T. Higgins plus 165. If you guys I don't know if anybody out there has watched that game against the Ravens. Burrow missed him twice, wide the hell open, just overthrew him. One was a deep ball down the line, and the other one he did a little post route on the left side, and Burrow for whatever reason just threw it too high. And I needed him last week in a parlay, and so I'm going to go back to him this week, just a straight play plus 165, stupid value. I really really like him this week, as I think a lot of people should focus on stopping Jamar Chase. And that's why this Bengals team is so damn hard to beat, is because they have another wide receiver one, T. Higgins, on the other side. And I'm going to go ahead and take his anytime touchdown. He scored 7 on the season. So let's get one this or tomorrow afternoon.
Just a quick correction. It's CS:GO for
That's yeah. I don't play that. Obviously, you guys CSGO.
I do have
I
one
mean,
more
what
touchdown
is
prop
that?
I
Is that
like.
Counter Strike? Is that what that is? Is that Counter Strike
I don't know.
or what is that? I have no idea. Someone
I don't play
Producer
it.
Eli here. That is
global
Counter
offensive.
Strike
There you go.
Global
Yeah. See, I
Offensive.
have no idea.
Yeah.
All right.
See, it is Counter Strike. There we go. I knew that. Whoops. Sorry, props. Probably should have known that one. All right. So that's what we got. CMC to score today. We got Higgins to score tomorrow. All right.
Got
Let's
one
give our
more.
best. Oh, you got. Oh, yeah. Go.
I didn't send it in, so there's no graph. But I've been thinking about it, and I think this is the one. Mike Evans, anytime touchdown plus 160. Guy's just been kind of banged up, going against pretty weak secondary in the Cowboys. I think Brady goes off. I think the Bucks win. Bye Dallas. And I think Mike Evans has a pretty good game on Monday.
All right. This is another one. We got to hear from you guys in the chat. The Cowboys or the Bucks? I lean the Cowboys. Sidekick leans or wants the Bucks.
I don't
and
want
so
them.
let us.
I don't
You
want
just
them.
know
I
it's going to
hate
happen.
Tom Brady. Okay, I don't
Oh,
want
wow.
them, but I think it's Tom Brady, so it's probably going to happen. It's written.
I just really think if the Cowboys lose, Jerry Jones is just going to go ape shit. He's just going to be mad. He's going to be really mad. So I think they can get it done. Let us know in the comments who you guys think wins this game on Monday night. But that'll lead to my best bet. I'll say mine first. This is a guy for tonight's game. We got Austin Eckler over 38.5 receiving yards. I think it's minus 110. Yeah, minus 110. That's what I got. Yep. And the graph that I got here, that is all the games without Mike Williams this season. So there has been quite a few. You have seen that he has a prominent role here in the offense. He's actually cashed this of 12 of 17 games this season already, and 4 of the last 6, regardless if Mike has played or not. So 3 of 4 without Mike. And then you have the matchup that is just it is a drooling matchup because the Jaguars give up the second most receiving yards to the running back position, the second most receptions to the running back position in the entire football league. And it's not like we have 3 or 4 sample sizes. We have 18 weeks. So that's the way to attack this Jaguars defense. I was stunned to not see this hit into the 40s or low 40s. And it's creeped up. It started at 35.5. Or I think it might have started at 34.5, got all the way up to now 38.5 with the Mike Williams news. I still think it's too low. So give me Austin Eckler this week or tonight against the Jaguars to have at least 39 receiving yards.
Yeah, I love that play. I was kind of looking at CMC's over receiving yards too, but it was 36.5, and the data just doesn't agree with the over on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
kind of hit or miss. Like his sweet spot is 30, so I stayed away. But I think Eckler, like you said, has a great matchup. Probably scores a bunch.
Yeah. I think the Chargers get it done tonight. I really do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm landing on. So yeah, give me some Eckler. Who is your best bet of the week?
All right, so I'm doing another SGP for the Monday night game, Cowboys Bucks here. I'm taking Godwin over 54.5, and I'm pairing it with Schultz over 24.5 at minus 105. As you can see the graphs, we got a lot of green. Godwin has been absolutely ridiculous. He's a target hog. He's gonna get it. I'm like 99% sure that he's gonna hit his mark. and Schultz should hit his mark. The Bucks pass defense is their weak spot. They like to stop the run. That's what they're selling out on. So I think we see a lot of dumps here to Dalton Schultz, and we cash this one.
Yeah, I like this one as well. I mean, Godwin's receptions alone is at 7.5, and
He's
it's
he's probably gonna get 10.
that's
He's
what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
yeah, and then you got Schultz, who has Schultz pissed us off earlier in the year,
he did.
right? Because he
Well,
didn't.
we hit one and then we didn't hit one. Eh,
Yeah,
Probably
it's a
the
love
red
hate
is
with
where
Schultz.
we didn't get it.
Exactly. Yeah, the one time.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Schultz should be involved, and I do not see how this one comes up short. I'm really, really big fan. You put this one in there as well, and I automatically put it in. So I'm with you here. You don't want to mess around with sidekicks SGPs. He knows what he's doing. Make sure you guys are tailing each and every one of our plays that we threw out to you guys this afternoon. And if you need help tracking it, make sure you go to Pickett Sports and download their app. You use Gold Boys for 25% off. Then, what do we got? Kids screaming upstairs. So trying to wrap it up real quick. We got our next week. We'll go to our divisional matchups. Same time, same stream. We're gonna progressively go. Maybe have a couple different sports here in and there. Maybe a college basketball, maybe some NBA, and maybe some golf as we're kind of rounding out the NFL season. We'll keep going with some different sports that we'll put in throughout each and every week. So, anything you want to wrap up for the wild card weekend slate?
I think we covered it all. Just gonna sit back, have a few beers, and enjoy this one.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely. I think I'll wait to crack a beer until the 7 o'clock game. I think that's what I'll wait. But no, I'm excited. My favorite game of the week is tonight, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Make sure you tune into First and Gold tomorrow morning here on the Gold Boys Network at 11 a.m. So with that, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will get up on out of here. Let's cash some tickets this wild card weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.